Guys, so I am working on a new video for the channel here, and you know what? And it's about some beauty shoot, this beauty shoot that I did. Now, it just so happens that the model was having a breakout, and so she has a lot of acne that just popped up on her face. What I want to do is just edit one of these photos for you to see. I think I'm gonna do this one. I like this shot, or let's do this one. And hopefully, you know, for my process, you can kind of get something from it. I don't feel like my editing is everywhere it needs to be currently, but I am working towards it, working to get better. All right, so here we go. Of course, I'm using Capture One. This is Capture One 20. I know they're up to like 22 at this point, but I kind of have no reason to change. I'm pretty okay with the workflow. I think this thing was pretty well lit. I had an highlighter. Like, the highlighter is just the bomb, guys. You're gonna see it in the video. And that's why you have this kind of like crescent moon underneath her, in her eye, as a catch light. And I also have the beauty dish that's lighting the front. So it's just really nicely lit. Now, when I had the, I was tethered. So then what I did was take, you know, I watched Peter Colson on here. He doesn't use a light meter. That's what I meant to say. He doesn't use a light meter. And so all he does, he lights it until, you know, like he'll take a photo, and once it's imported, he puts the exposure warning on. And then if it's about a stop or a half stop before the model's skin starts to break, like how it's doing right now, then he's like, okay, that's good. So everything is pretty much protected, I think, except for right here on the bottle. But the bottle is very reflective anyways. You should have cleaned off the bottle. Look at that. The bottle is all, it's got all sort of fingerprints all over it. All the shadows are pretty well lit. You know, this is pretty well lit. I don't feel like there's anything I need to do. I am going to, it's easy to fix the skin tones in Capture One. So I'm going to go over to the color tab, go down to color editor and skin tone. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And what I like to do is like push the skin tone all the way up and then use the uniformity. Is that what I want to do? No, I don't. I want to push the uniformity all the way up, and then I want to fix the skin tone how I want it. Do I want it more green? Do I want it more magenta? And so I crank the uniformity so I can get a clear idea of how I want her skin tone to be. I don't want it so green. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good skin tone right there. So like -6. All right, drop the uniformity back down. Now I'm going to bring it up slowly. I generally do uniformity between like 25 to like 35. I think is a pretty solid place to be. I'm just going to bring the saturation up just a tad. And the light, this is kind of where the magic is. It's kind of evening out some of the lightness on her skin. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's do before and after. So very slight change, before, after, before, after, but that really helps with the edit later on, right? Again, we're going for a really clean look, so I'm not going to really add any like color in the shadows and that kind of stuff. So again, I'm going to go over to advanced, click on that. I'm actually going to bring the brightness of her skin down just a tad bit. It kind of adds more life back into it, but whenever you bring something bright down, it's actually going to make it a little bit more saturated. So I'm going to bring the saturation down a little bit too. Just a tad, not much. Again, let's look at before. It's not much. After, before, after. It kind of, it's almost flattening out her skin a little bit. Okay, doke. Yeah, let's go into Photoshop. That's my settings for Photoshop. You know what? Do I want to go 16-bit or 8-bit? 8-bit, it's fine. If I was dealing with gradients, like if I had like a colored, you know, colored gels on the background or something like that, and I'm dealing with gradients, then I would do 16-bit, because 8-bit you'll start to see a lot of banding and breaking of the colors and whatnot. So Crazy thing is, I like challenges like this. I like whenever, okay, things are not perfect on the model's face, and then I have to like edit it back to perfection. It is very, it's kind of a strange thing, but I actually do enjoy doing this. Okay, so I'm not trying to get, even though I said perfection, I'm not trying to get perfection with the spot healing tool. I'm gonna try to get to a certain place and then move on to frequency separation. I have an action for my frequency separation. If you don't know what that is, there's again plenty of videos on YouTube that kind of explains it. Now this frequency separation uses dust and scratch, right? So I'm gonna crank the radius until I don't see the edges. I think 21 is good. I think I saw a video one time that said like sometimes a good mark is you, especially with an image like this, in beauty, you do half of your pixel count, your megapixel count. So, I don't know. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, it does depend on like your f-stop, how detailed the photo looks, and so on. All right, I'm gonna first use lasso, and I'm going to use a Gaussian blur. I'm gonna use 1/3 of the 21, so that's like 7, right? And so, is that what it is, Judah?
Yes, 1/3 of 21 is 7.
So all this area of color kind of goes into dark. I want to blend that all together. So I'm going to do blur, Gaussian blur. I'm going to do 7. So I'm going to start with 7. Hit OK. Now if I should do before, after, it's kind of hard to see, but it's there. And then if I need to blur some more, I just do Control Command F, and it adds another blur to it, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm hitting Control Command F, and I'm hitting it again, all right, until those colors kind of blend together. I think one of the tips for using the mixer brush is like you don't make, like what I did a second ago, I don't make long strokes unless you intend to pull the color, like all that dark color from up top, but you make like you make small strokes. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking some of this color because right over here is kind of red, and it goes into like a yellow and orange. So I'm just gonna blend some of that color together. And then in like the highlighted area, it kind of goes into pink. Oh, wait. Before, after, before, after, right? My son is working behind me. He's in the family business, guys. All right, I'm gonna take the stamp tool. I'm gonna just select somewhere that is good, somewhere that is kind of clear, and just kind of clean up any extra areas here that needs cleaning up. So I'm gonna put a layer in between. All right, I'm gonna get a layer there, and I'm gonna get a paintbrush. What I'm gonna do is actually sample some of the color here from like off her cheek, for instance. All right, and I'm just gonna, that's too pink. And that's too much. Put it at 2% and make it soft. Again, sample some from the lighter area for her cheek right here and brush it into those spots. All right, so what I did here, I did a stamp visible layer, which is a Shift Option Command E. I'm not sure what it is on Windows, honestly. And now I'm going to jump into Camera Raw. I'm gonna drop again her skin tone, bring down the orange a little bit. It's gonna even out a little bit the shadows. The shadow transition to the highlights. I think about 15 will work. I'm gonna hit OK on that.
Nope.
I like that. That looks really good. Now I can go ahead and re-add. Some of the highlights, and I go in levels, cranking it up until it breaks.
Ow. That's really bright.
Until it breaks, so that we make sure we get all the highlights. Change it to luminosity.
Still really bright.
Now I'm only going to focus on, I'm going to take away the shadows. That looks about right. And I'm going to break the underline layer thing, and I'm going to go like that. Hit OK. All right, let us invert that layer. If you guys want me to go into more detail on this, I definitely can. All right, let's push the flow up to like 12, because 2 is going to take way too long. All right, and I'm just going to paint the highlights back in. And again, I'm going according to her makeup. You know, if you watch makeup tutorials, they will kind of give you a good idea. All right. Put a little bit in her eyes too. All right, fill in her underneath her eyes here. Bing, 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 bing. Great. Right there. Lips, highlights on the fingers. Right there. Collarbone also. All right, how does that look? So I'm gonna bring the opacity all the way down to 0, and I'm gonna slowly bring it up until I like it. I think at about 40. No, I'm gonna drop it even more. Why is my screen changing?
Technical
I think
difficulties.
no, I think it has adaptive something on it. Okay, I really could make this better because I don't like. I could even out the bags underneath her eyes and whatever, but we're gonna just move on, man. For me, I like to add a contrast and brightness layer. Right, to kind of meld everything together. It's probably like around 30. I'm gonna add some brightness back into it. In case I went too far, look around 9. That's good. And that's looking really good. I think I can do some sharpen. I'm gonna go high pass. I'm gonna bring up the high pass until I can see the details in her eyes. I think that's good. Let's put on a hard light. I'm gonna add some noise. I'm going really fast now, so I got other things I need to do. Add some noise. Right, added noise. What else needs to be done? So I'm gonna bring the sharpen down because it's a bit much. All the way off, and I'm gonna slowly bring it back up. Okay, I like it at 30. I'm gonna put the noise probably around that amount too, probably like around 40. Okay, I think that's good, guys. Look at that, beautiful. All right, let's look at before, after, before, after. What you think? Let me know. Peace.